I like to ramble, ramble. I like to ramble, ramble. I like to ramble. Welcome to the innermost ramblings of Fiona. I'm Fiona and I like to ramble. It's actually been the way that I'm learning to get to know myself. I started voice memoing myself and feeling my truth as I speak. Like, does that feel good in my body? That's not quite right. I'll keep talking and then feeling, oh wow, yeah, that is not. So this is where I ramble and process whatever is alive, whatever is staring in me in any given moment, and invite you to listen. Maybe you find some identification. Maybe you're like, yeah, that makes sense. Or maybe you're like, what? That's not my truth. And I hope that you'd seek out your truth as you listen. Listen to your body, listen to your responses, and maybe even do a little rambling of your own. Thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoy. A disclaimer before we jump into it. These are voice memos that are voice memos. They are infiltrated by wind sounds and cars going past, or me being in the car, or they are not perfect audio. I can't sit down and have the same processing effect. There's often movement involved. I like being outside or standing up, or so my audio is unedited and authentic to the environment that I'm in. I kania mai te tia te konutika mai a kania potesh kania ayanakia tunoa ua te askanunue akamaya te shikanu akapaya te shikanu aka te akamai e koroshkana inikaya. Hi, I'm driving. Welcome to what's going on inside my head and my body. Feelings check. Lots of tension. I'm just really getting curious about this like full-bodied yes, full-bodied no thing. Like, well, not even full body, like if it's a no and how it's starting to drain me. Like, I don't know if it's just that I'm more aware of my body now. Or what, but yeah, there's definitely like I think last week I spent a lot of time doing things or engaging with energy that wasn't a full-bodied yes, that wasn't a yes that I actually wanted to be engaging with, and not consciously knowing that, like kind of knowing but not knowing. Just the way that plays in my body, like it's like this ugh and this weight and this not wanting to experience. I guess there's an element of shutting down. Like, I'm shutting down. I feel so tired. I feel so disconnected. I feel so panicked. Like it's something that I don't want to be doing. I don't actually want to be doing. And so now I'm feeling a lot of that. Like, I guess I spent my whole life like 24/7. For a little while there, feeling no. Like, my whole life was just no. Well, that's how I was experiencing my whole life. And yeah, like I've had time and space where it's like I'm getting to know what it feels like to have a much more open experience in my body and what that feels like, and how much more energy can flow through me and with me, and because I'm already flowing towards it. Like I'm not trying to dam and then change direction and then ignore the fact that I really want to be doing this other thing that I'm not actually doing, which feels really important to acknowledge that, I think. I'm noticing that it's like when I'm like, oh, this is the last time I'm doing this, that's actually an impediment of my own boundaries and my own yes, and causes a lot of like pain in my body, I suppose. And some of it's not like, it's not a obvious no so much as it's a I don't know what the word is. It's a pendulum swing. I was talking to a friend, an outreach friend today, about this idea of a pendulum, and I kind of it made sense that like, okay, there's this pendulum, and I've spent so much time leaning out, like leaning away from interactions, so that I didn't have to deal with the fact that I'm quite an ambivalent attachment style, which all that means is that I am both avoidant and anxious in my attachment styles, but I spend a lot of time just assuming that I'm avoidant because that's how I've showed up for the most part in pretty much all my interactions, to avoid the anxiety of the anxious attachment. So now that I'm starting to lean in and just be like, I want to interact, and I want to enjoy, and I want to be with people, I'm noticing how much I override my own boundaries. Like I lean too far in and I lean too far out. And if you see a pendulum in your mind's eye, or I see a pendulum, what I like, the picture I'm getting is like this pendulum, I'm either too far in or too far out, and my sense of self is found in the middle of that pendulum, like who I am, my groundedness, because I'm balanced, I'm in myself, I'm not too far out of myself away or too far out of myself in. Like I lose sense of myself on either of those ends, but I also, because my sense of self actually is helped balance by other people. Like I need other people bring different particular things in and out of me. That feels important. So this pendulum and trying to find the balance, which I think is with a lot of, like, I've spent so much time when I'm in Adelaide, and I guess this is also this new way of just learning to be a social human being. Like I'm around and I can do a lot of events. I'm closer. I don't have to drive an hour and a half to get to every event now, and that feels really nice. And all of a sudden I want to do everything, but it's like, actually, what are the things that are gonna feed me and really like light me up? I don't want to just do events for the sake of doing events. I don't want to just, like, I don't want to lose myself in the sake of trying to find connection, because that's not connection. That's not true connection. And that's how I've lived a lot of my life. Like this if I do this, this person will like me in this way or respond in this way or give me this thing. And knowing that I'm not showing up as my authentic self, and then like not trusting myself because I'm not being truthful, true with my word, true with my presence, true with me, and also not trusting others because it's like, yeah, but I'm not showing you the true me. So how can you say that you like me because I'm not being me? Like, and I think that's what's been really nice with lately, is just like, yeah, maybe I don't feel like being here. I don't know. Maybe I need to ask for more help, or maybe I need to say I want this from this interaction, like quite clearly. I don't know. Interesting. Yeah, I'm currently getting a lot of no in my body, if that's what I'm interpreting it as, and it's like, I wonder how much of that is. So I'm currently driving back to Adelaide with a whole lot of fruit that I've picked over the weekend, wanting to share, but also like wanting to just, there's so much fruit and I don't want it to go to waste, but is that my responsibility? I guess it's really making me check in, like, this feels edgy to share because I know people that I'm going to see tonight will listen. But it's like, I guess I don't want to be like this person who brings food all the time, but I also want to be this. I just want to share what is available. I know that I've kind of noticed in the past how I'll use making food. So I want to make marmalade, and I'd like to make feijoa and apple jam, or maybe chutney, because I find that quite a fun thing to do. But I'm also trying to build 1,000 other things, and it's like I'm not creating the time and the space. Like, this is not a domino, as my coach would say, like, find the domino that's going to knock the most over next, like attack it that way. So then you're using your time effectively. And I think there's some element of like, there needs to be play and there needs to be, but is this a full-bodied yes? Like, really just, do I like making jam because I like making jam, or because that got me approval from like, or a, not approval, but definitely like a point of connection with Nana, and with Dad, and like, I don't know, there's an element of like, I don't want to eat the jam, I just want to give it away, I want to make food with it, and I think there's an opportunity to sell it. In the little house that I'm in at the moment, there's one of my housemates, I haven't mentioned that she's amazing. She's amazing. Both my housemates at the moment are really, like, there's just this, like, I just want to take you guys home. Oh, hang on, I am home for the next couple of weeks, which is nice. Yeah, I'm really inspired by both of them for different reasons, but one of them's built a little, like, garden sharing box, I can't remember what you'd call that, out the front anyway, called Crescent Harvest. It's on Instagram, it has its own Instagram page, totally check that out. And it's like, that would be cool, like, to actually have somewhere to sell it. So I guess that's but is that something that needs to happen, or is that like getting out of my flow in order to do something? I'm noticing often I've done that lately. Like, it's like, this is something I want to do, but it doesn't feel right for right now. And really paying attention to that. Like, when is it a good time to do the thing? It's very interesting to pay attention to, I think. Yeah. And then, what's the other thing I was thinking about? See, I'm feeling like, who is this person talking? Like, it's very interesting to pay attention to. I'm not fully here. There was a thought that I had the other day that I was like, that's something really interesting to unpack, which has been the way that I'm interacting with bodies lately is changing the way that I'm interacting with bodies. It's changing the way I interact with my body as I interact with other people's bodies, which is then changing the way that I interact with other people's bodies. It's like this spiral effect, perhaps. It's changing the way that I interact with my dogs, which is really nice, and cats, and like just animals in general. Like, there's all of a sudden this reverence for bodies. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's nice. This desire, like, I'm going to borrow words from my outreach buddy. She was just like, it's like she noticed that there was bodies around, and all of a sudden she's like, oh, these are things I actually want in my life, and I want them around all the time, and I want to be able to touch them all the time. Like, and that's definitely something I'm noticing. Like, I'm like, I just want to touch people all the time. Like, where is this coming from? It's nice, but it's also confusing, because I'm like, I don't know where boundaries are. But then also being like, if I normalize this and make it mean something for me, like if I give this meaning, then it becomes that meaning. And it does, it feels so natural and like home to be reaching out and interacting with people, like housemates. That feels almost something I don't even think about. Like, and particular friends now, other people I'm still like, I really want to touch you right now, and it's just a really big awareness in my brain and my body, I suppose, that I'm not always acting upon. And maybe that's like, as I notice that I want to dance more closely with people when I have the opportunity, and I'm like, I don't know how to move like this and stay in my body, and like, is it okay to touch people whilst dancing, and all these things that I'm like, well, old me would have been really triggered whether I asked or not. I feel like asking is definitely a good option though. So I don't know, just leaning into a lot of new edginess around that. I guess I've said this before, but the edge doesn't necessarily feel like the edge, gonna be honest. Like, the edge is where I feel most alive. And so, like, I guess noticing these niggles of like, I wonder what this would be like. I wonder how it would be if I moved in this way. I wonder, and letting myself be curious without like needing it to mean something, I suppose. Not even I suppose, like, I create my own meaning, but letting it be just an experience, I don't know, I'm losing my train of thought there. It's just, yeah, I'm finding more delight in my body as well. Like, it's strange because I've just been so tired and so heavy and so like, I am so tired. And yet at the same time, there's these new, like, I'm noticing cravings in my body, and noticing those cravings as delightful invitations rather than like, oh, I'm so lacking, I'm so gaping, I'm so empty. I'm noticing, like, vaginal discharge is a nice experience. Like, before it would have been like, oh, yuck, and like, I've started to really appreciate my bleed and the way that it feels when blood is moving out of me, and the wetness. But there's also this, like, awareness that this happens to varying degrees almost every day of my month when I'm feeling more healthy. Like, I don't always bleed. Kind of, there's this conversation going on at the same time as I speak about this in my head of like, yeah, getting really just rambly. But this is normal stuff for me to talk about. So welcome. Yeah, and that sensation has been an uncomfortable one, and it's becoming more and more like, wow, my body's actually working, and I really appreciate my body, and it's delightful. She's alive, she's working, I'm working, I'm here, I can feel more things, and I can feel more things. I can feel more things in my body. I can feel more things on my skin, inside of me, around me, and that's just I've started some very intentional touch spaces with a friend. We have not defined it in any greater ways than that, but the conversation came up the other day that they don't want to engage with people with intimate touch if that person doesn't already have like a self-touch practice. And I was like, why would you be engaging with me then? Like, it seems so baffling to me. But that conversation brought to my awareness just how much I have been sitting with my body. Like, for years, it just kind of evolved itself. I'm a vata, I'm quite dry. My body is quite dry. And in summer, I just intuitively, I think I got sunburn actually. I don't get sunburn very often. I'm pretty brown, and if I soak up the sun, I go brown. If I'm red, I'm very burned. Anyway, I think I must have got burned one day. It would have been fresh in the season, but yeah, I put coconut oil on and just continued to do so, and through different practices of kind of woven massage as a daily thing with coconut oil at the end of the day, just to kind of check in with my body. Sometimes, like, I was dry brushing as well for a while there, and I've got out of that habit, but I would just check in, like, speak out loud to each part of my body and just be like, thank you for being here, thank you for walking with me, legs, thank you hands for all that you do, and just speaking. Like, sometimes it would be over an hour of speaking to each individual part, and dude, I was so teary. I was so, like, there were times when it was so hard, but it was so beautiful. And I'm like, I do that every day at least to check in. And it's not like, sometimes it is only like 5 minutes of like, all right, I've just oiled my entire body, but it's still like, I guess more and more I want it to be with the intention of loving my body and enjoying my body and being in my body. And like, there's been a lot of numbness within my experience of myself, in particular places in my body. And so I guess I've just kind of been like, well, I'm obviously doing it wrong if I still can't feel things, or if there's pain as the first reaction. And this conversation has kind of got me really thinking, like, nah, like the fact that I have been so intentional, and like, I went back to the farm this weekend, but I was craving my yoni egg today, and I'm like, the fact that that's even a craving now, like, that's so new to me. And I felt like steaming my yoni as well, and so like, just the fact that like these things are even popping into my mind as like, this is how I want to interact with my body, this is what my body needs right now, this is something that she's asking for, like, it's a miracle, like an utter freaking miracle. And it just is kind of like, yeah, I have spent many hours and many days and a lot of intentional time with my body. Like, I don't love my body well in many ways, but I also love her really well, and that's been cultivated in other ways. Like, I just feel like that's a bit of a gift. And this, like, some days it does, I feel like my body is a wonderland unto myself, and inviting other people into those experiences with me, like that desire to reach out and touch, that's an invitation for me to experience my body more. Like, yeah, I'm inviting other people, and it's a connection thing, but it's also like, my body is my wonderland. It's how I experience myself, and it's how I experience other people, and that's a really beautiful thing. Like, that's how it's supposed to be. Yeah, that kind of, well, it doesn't baffle me, but it's like really yeah, it's really nice, really nice, to have this awareness and to be counted among people who are really intentionally creating space for self-love, for self-awareness, and for knowing how I like to be touched because I'm touching myself, and then being able to have the confidence to say, no, I like it like this, I like you to engage with my body like this, and knowing like, this is my boundary. Actually, when you interact with like my body, like, I don't, it's helping to clarify, like, blah, 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 blah. Just, this is dropping in really bigly. So it turns out that I cut off just there, and I don't know what's dropping in really bigly, except the fact that, like, me knowing my boundaries, so maybe I do know, but me knowing my boundaries, me knowing what I like, me treating my body in a way that's like, this is how love feels, means that I can articulate that to somebody else, to everybody else, to the world around me. And that's healing and empowering and good. And I will leave it there. And there you have it, folks. Another episode of The Innermost Ramblings of Fiona in the Books. Thanks for coming along. Please like and subscribe and share and do all those things. And if you want to find me on socials in between time, you can find me at _innermost_ramblings on Instagram, or check the show notes for other ways to connect. Until next time, have a brilliant, beautiful day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world, whenever you are listening to this. From my heart to yours. Bye.